There is more to grass than Kentucky blue, and today we're going to give you our top 10 ornamental grasses. We're not talking sedges, we're not talking mondo grass, not liriope, but true waving in the wind, bringing summer texture to your garden grasses. So, why do we use them? What makes a good grass? And why are there actually still grass haters in the world? She's Leslie Harris. I'm Marianne Willburn, and you are listening to The Garden Mixer. One take, baby.
I love it. Grasses.
Hello.
I love grasses, and I didn't always love grasses.
Oh, you were a grass hater. I've always loved them.
Oh, no,
I've just
never a
never
hater.
known.
Just an ignorant, like, wait, what are we doing here? We're not having flowers?
Just
So
an
show me
ignorant
the
idiot.
way.
I've always been intrigued by them, and I've always loved the movement that they bring to the garden. And something that I read by Neil Lucas makes sense to me. He said they blur and they merge the garden together. They blur you into those boundaries between your garden and the outside wild spaces. And I love that. I use them to soften. I call it punching and softening, because I'm just hard edged.
Very
And I'm
violent.
punching with these tropical textures and subtropical textures and then softening them. And the best way to do that is with grasses. So, yeah, I'm a big fan, big fan.
Yeah, I've become one. I really have. And the punching thing is very cool because as I've used them in designs in my garden and for other people, if we have a low border of perennials, say, I don't know, 2-3 foot things, say there's some Nepeta, say there's some Monarda, I don't know what, then these can be exclamation points that really make it exciting. And they're 4-season plants. I mean, in the spring, hope and little things coming up, and you're like, oh, yeah, that one lived. That's cool. In the summer, it's this beautiful movement and the reminder that the breeze is sweet. And in the fall, you get this color and this texture and this, I don't know, autumnal, glory. And in the
Yeah.
winter, you get these skeletons, but they're skeletons that might hold snow in the most interesting way and remind you of how fabulous your garden looked just a few months ago. So I am a huge fan now.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan too. I'm a huge fan of my drink. How about you? Tonight,
No,
I'm actually drinking very, what's the word?
not
Virtuous
enough.
tonic water.
You are
And
very
I'm
virtuous.
I'm drinking like, but I've had a heck of a day, so I've decided to
Aw.
get the writer's tears down from over there. It's ready to go.
My
It's right
encouragement
here.
listeners had something to do with it. There it is.
It's right here. It sits there waiting for me if I need it. There we go.
I
It'll
love
be
the
poured
tinkle.
later today.
Good.
As soon as Leslie pisses me off, we're good.
Soon, soon.
It'll be very soon.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so tell me, do we have anything for Clearup Corner, or were we amazing
We were
last week?
amazing, but there are a couple of little niggling things.
All right.
First of all, you made a dog's breakfast.
First of all, you screwed up. I like that. Nice.
Well, there was a total win. You knew that when we were talking about the foliage of cleome, damn, I wish I planted that choice of mid-July, you were like, oh, I think it's a leaflet, a palmate leaflet. Anyway, you were totally right, right? So you got
I
that.
guess I was totally right. Yeah. Palmately compound leaf, which is
Mhm.
made up of leaflets coming off of that petiole. And there's so many different ways to describe flowers and foliage and all of these things. And it's a good idea to have a working knowledge of them. And that's why many years ago, I got a little cheat sheet thing from like a great garden that's just a laminated, here are the parts of the flower, because you forget when you're not working with something over and over and over again, or you're not studying it in a certain way. And sometimes like we have those moments where we go, wait a minute, it's a palmate leaf, right?
Wait a
Yeah,
minute. What's my
palmate.
last name? Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, plus we're getting older, brain's getting flabbier.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a cheat sheet every once in a while. I could have used it last time, but I was right in the end, so we're good.
You were right. And as I'm putting together the video for YouTube, I congratulate you on your rightness. And I also couldn't
Cool.
resist. There's some royalty-free photographs that you can use on the program that I work with when I edit. And I'm like, what do they have? They had a photograph of cannabis, and then they also had some guy who was clearly enjoying his weed. I'm like, I'm just going to flash that up there. So I'm having having fun with the full video version of the Garden Mixer. I don't suggest that anybody sit and look at a screen for an hour. But if you're looking, I'm trying to have
Okay.
fun.
Yeah, if
Um,
you're cooking dinner and it's just sort of sitting there,
yeah,
you know.
and you might look over and like, "Oh my god, there's that guy smoking pot on the screen with the garden mixer."
They're really chasing that explicit rating,
Yes, they are.
really, not for children rating.
And your new
Um,
Okatsunes, which I know you're loving, but you misguided the people. So the
I
beauty of
did.
these little pruner secateurs is that they are very small. I go for the smallest available size to me on Amazon, which is 101. I think they're 102s and 103s. You were way off in the 180s. I don't know. You were heavyweight and that
So
doesn't
this is one of those things I can't defend myself because it wasn't that I remembered what I had ordered. It was that it was on the packaging,
oh,
which I'm sure it was 180 and I've thrown the packaging away. So it's I can never ever like
redeem yourself.
vindicate myself and
Uh,
redeem myself. So I just have to go for what you said. I went back, looked at my order, and yes, indeed, I have the 101s and they are the smallest, which is nice because I have my others are a medium small size, not okasunis, but my Bergers and my ARSs, which I use all the time. And those are just a medium, and my Felcos are number sixes. So anyway, lovely little pair of pruners. I think we have beaten this horse to death
yeah, let's
with the
move on.
okasunis. If you don't have a pair, I guess you're not in the in crowd, obviously.
Let's go.
So
One more thing to clear up. People are asking, "How do I listen to the one more sip portion?"
yes, we want to
You can
make this,
do that
yeah.
so clear. Okay, what you're listening to is our full version. We used to put one more sip out to everybody, but then we're like, "Wait a minute, we need to make a little money here so we
We're
can get
tired.
some
We're
help. We're tired.
tired,
It's a
yearning
lot
to be
of work."
free.
Yes. So we put one more sip behind a paywall. And what does it cost? $4 a month to get it?
Yeah, it's like a nothing. It's a nothing.
It's enough.
And yeah, you do that all through Substack. So you go to Substack where you get the show notes and they come to you in your email. Anyway, show notes for all of it, for our big podcast, for One More Sip. And if you are a one part of the One More Sip community, what did you call it? The One More Sip committed community, which we actually have a fair amount of people in there now. We're so happy. Welcome to all of you. And thank you for supporting, for believing in our podcast enough to support us that way. That's a really cool thing because
Yeah.
there's a lot that is vying for your attention out there. So we really appreciate it. But you go to Substack and you hit paid subscriber and upgrade from free subscriber, and it's like $4.16 a month. That's
Yeah.
not much to hear all about deadheading. I think was our last one. What was the one before that?
The one before that was independence from your garden, just some tips and tricks on how not to work as hard because
Well,
we are
did you just say tips and
oh,
tricks?
oops.
Did
And
that
let me just
just
say
come out of
this.
your
Let me
mouth?
just say this too, chop and drop.
Oh, Jesus.
Where's that bourbon? No, is it scotch? What do you need it, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, girl.
Okay, I'm reaching for it.
He's
Tips and
officially
tricks.
pouring.
Yep, officially
But
pouring.
the next one more sip that you could get, and meanwhile, you might annoyingly get this newsletter that talks about it, but you can't get it until you go through the little paywall. So we would love for you to do that. You can get notes on it, but you can't you can't listen
No,
to it.
you won't get the full note. You'll just get that it's come out and what it's
Oh,
about,
okay.
and then it'll say, paid subscribers below this point where you can listen to the audio. So, we're trying to make it as easy as possible, and I recognize that we're in two different platforms. We're here on Spotify, and we can't,
Apple, YouTube,
yeah, and Apple and all, and
things.
YouTube
Oh,
and
we've got
everything. But
we've got like almost 200 people on TikTok. I cannot explain it, Lucy.
hello, TikTok users. Do I need to, like? Oh no, we don't do naked dances. I forgot we cannot do naked
We're not
dances.
doing that.
I don't know.
Um,
What do they do on TikTok? You
I
this is
I
I
can't
can
tell you.
see you making a short of this, and I'm already annoyed by what you're gonna do to me.
Preach again
But, like,
for the I don't know what they do on TikTok. Please join us. You gotta get it on Substack. And, the next one is about we talked about, some ones that we've done in the past. The next one is about staking, staking
yeah.
plants, and we both are pretty good at that. Marianne's better, which is sad because I professionally did that for 7 years, so I don't know why she's better at it, but apparently she is,
I
according to
may be
Fergus
better,
Garrett.
but I'm not Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
that's right. I did get the Saint Fergus blessing
Mhm,
on that
mhm.
one.
Uh,
Yeah, so I haven't done very much of it though this season, which is why I had to cut half of one of my newest grasses off because I could not fix the flop. I could not
Oh,
fix the flop. But we're gonna
darn.
talk about all that on one more step. All right, can we move on?
Yeah, we're gonna
Um,
start our grasses, but first, would you just give us a little
oh, there was one other thing.
Yes.
I wanted our last, podcast episode was on, getting your garden vacation ready.
Uh-huh.
And we're talking and vacation, you gotta go on vacation, 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 and I was thinking back to being about 30, 2 children, laid off, husband, like crazy student loans, no vacation. There was no vacation happening.
Was there a
And the
staycation? Did you
but
try to
there
make that
was
fun?
staycations.
Okay.
Yeah, we did do lots of staycation, and we also when we did go away, we would go to see our family, which were
Yeah.
on the West Coast, and that had to be the vacation. And so, never fear, listeners, we're with you in two different minds, our minds now and our minds then. And I am aware that not everybody can go on vacation. It's not that easy, but just being able to get away from your garden for a little bit, for a long weekend, going to a friend's, going
Yeah.
camping, any of that sort of thing. That's all
Yes.
vacation in my book.
Yeah. I agree. I agree. So teach us, oh wise
Oh,
one, the
wise.
difference between sedges and grasses and reeds and all the things, and then we'll start really zeroing in on which are our 10 favorite. We each got to choose 5. This was a very fun process. But what are we talking about exactly botanically?
Ooh, botanically. Okay, so we're talking about members of the Poaceae family, and but not all of them. So I'm already going to make it complicated. We're not going to be talking about reeds, many of which are in the Poaceae family. Those are water grasses. They're basically sort of
Right.
a water grass,
Phragmites
or
or
right.
Arundinax.
Arundodonax is fine in the garden. In fact, it's awesome in the garden, although it's invasive. I can neither confirm nor deny that I grow peppermint stick. Not that I would know the cultivar. Um, but we're not going to talk about reeds. We're not going to talk about sedges, which are carex. That is the sedges have edges thing. We're not going to, they're not coming in on this. And the other thing that's not coming in on this are things like monkey grass or mondo grass or lariop. I think lariop is monkey grass, isn't it? Isn't that what it's
Yeah, I think
called?
that's what they call it.
It's not a grass. It's not a sedge. It's just grass like. And we're going to talk, about some true grasses, the sort of our traditional grasses that we know as grasses, you instinctively look at and know as grasses. But I do want to talk about that sedges have edges thing because it can be really confusing to new gardeners and non-new gardeners. I was heavily confused by it for for several years because they say, okay, sedges have edges. That's how you tell them apart from grasses. All right, well, that's terrific. So you grab a leaf of sedge, and I have one right here that I brought, that I made earlier. Oh, I didn't. Oh, it's now falling apart. All right, I will take my okasunis, which are still sitting here because I can't clean up my desk, and just cut that edge off. And what we're talking about is not the blade because you touch that blade, that leaf, and it's got edges. Oh yeah, I feel the edges. But then I go to the grass and I go, oh, well, that's got edges.
Could cut you actually, yeah,
Yeah.
edges.
Oh yeah. Look
Mm,
at that. Do you see
yeah,
that?
blood, there's blood.
Should I do it right there? There's blood
Ow,
right there.
ow.
Yeah, that's for one of these bad boys. So that doesn't make sense, but it does because we're not talking about the blades or the leaves. We're talking about the stems. So you go deep down into that carex there, pull it out of the ground, and then feel it, right? Like that. You see it going around. And well, our listeners are like, I can't see anything. Shut up, you stupid woman. Like, okay, on YouTube right now. You can feel that at the stems. That's a triangular. That's got edges. But if you're on the stem of the grass, and this is a morning like miscanthus, this is round.
Okay.
And grasses are round and hollow until they get to their nodes, and then they're the opposite of hollow at the nodes, and then they're hollow again. And so, is that clear? Is everybody,
I think
Miss
so.
Harris?
Yes, I absolutely believe you. I think it's wonderful. Okay.
All righty,
Well,
I can't wait to watch
speak
that.
speaking of morning light, is that not your first, choice? Which I wanted, but
Ooh,
you took?
I don't know if I should come out of the gate with, a controversial grass.
Oh,
That's
okay.
my first choice.
Go for something
Let
locally.
me say a controversial genus as my
Uh-huh.
first choice. But why not? It's in my hand. I'll talk
Okay.
about it. Um, it is an Asian grass. It is Miscanthus sinensis morning light. And I love this grass. It's you grow it. I think you grow it.
I
Did I
do.
tell you to grow it? Is that why, or did you already grow it? I don't
No,
know.
we were trying to figure out how to end the bowling alley in grandfather's urn, and I wanted
Mm.
morning light, and you wanted something else that was an insipid and poor choice. I went with I don't know, I don't even know what you wanted. She's choking on her tonic. I'm making
Oh
that
my
up.
god, I've now gotta pour another finger of whiskey. Jeez.
I wanted morning light so badly because I missed it, and I have
Oh,
it, and
okay.
it makes me so happy. It's in great-grandfather's urn, and you have
Okay,
it
so
probably in various places.
I have it in a lot of places because the thing about morning light is that it can handle partial shade without flopping. In that 4 to 5 hours of sun, it can stand up. It is a grass, it's very, very thin, very light. Talk about, movement and, uh, it's just a beautiful grass. And it has white margins, very narrow blade, white margins with a white midrib. So there's a lot of white going on, and that's how it looks. And it's very vertical. It doesn't tend to splay open, too much. It's just very, very vertical, very strong, strong accent. And it also grows a lot less vigorously than a lot of other miscanthus species that are straight green, like a gracillimus, which is as a narrow blade, like this one, and it also blooms quite late in the season. I mean, sometimes it's blooming so late that I don't need to. There's no worry at all about seeds for me, because it's just blooming so late. I have to pull one of these out as a seedling, and those blooms are beautiful, reddish, pinkish gorgeousness. So I use it as a real punctuation in a lot of places where I'm having problems with sun, in that I don't have any, that I don't have enough. But again, it's not a deep shade plant. It can, and it's only about 4 or 5 feet. I'd say maybe 5 feet. Wouldn't you say? Does that sound
Yeah,
about right?
yeah,
Hmm.
I think so.
It
And it
can
can
get
get
big
chunky,
over time, yeah.
and miscanthus, unfortunately, is such a it's a difficult one because it will die out in the middle over years, and then getting
Yeah.
that sucker out of the ground. I suggest you plant it someplace where you're just never gonna really see that it's died out in the middle unless you go and stick your head in it, in which case you will not have to dig it out, have a wrestling match with it to try to divide it, or just dig it out and start again. Miscanthus does die out in the middle. That is its only pitfall. It's a big one. I love this
It's
plant, though.
not the only pitfall. I mean, miscanthus are known to be invasive. It's a lot of in several states, probably about half of our states, they're known to be invasive species. There are some miscanthus that are bred to be sterile, like bandwidth, which is sort of like Zabrinus, but it's smaller.
Mhm.
But this one just it doesn't seed for me. See, I haven't seen seedlings. I've been here 12 years. Now, it doesn't mean that things don't happen and circumstances don't change, but it works really, really well for me. Also, I have found when I've had to dig it up after 6, 7 years because I want to move it somewhere else, it is a heck of a lot easier to move than a lot of the other miscanthus that I've grown, like a
Oh, okay.
gracillimus or like, oh yeah, it feels more shallowly rooted.
Okay.
Now, a lot of that could the vigor of it could just be because it's just not producing as much chlorophyll.
Okay. Yeah,
It's
exactly, because it's so variegated. It is an awesome
yeah.
plant. This is an invasive plant, so let me just bring virtue back to the podcast by
Oh,
mentioning
yes,
my
thank you.
first one, which is a native. Um, but
Oh, man.
I love yours. So I'm gonna talk about, the muhly grass, which is the Muhlenbergia capillaris, which is what I used to, try to plant in Albemarle County, which is rich in deep clay soil. Didn't do so well for me here, not for me, not for my clients. I am very happy to hear that there is a plant that you know about, but let me just talk about the muhly grass as most people know it. So this is the one it's about 2 by 2. It's in zones 5 through 11. So it's a nice compact thing. It doesn't go on and on. If you wanna move that one, that's easy. It's kind of a green blob in summer, it's not so exciting, but in fall, it is the most magical pink, fluffy cotton candy thing, and the best place I've ever seen it planted, which holds true to my idea that it doesn't like clay soil, is it was chosen by Hilton Head Island to fill in almost every place between the lanes of a highway to get you on and off of the island, and I went there many
Wow.
times because my dear mother-in-law was down there, and I was just like, "Oh, oh my goodness," like, yards and yards of it, just pink stuff going like this. It's just a fabulous plant, and I wanna hear about one that you um, know about that I don't, that which is the Muhlenbergia reverconii, and even though there's a
Yeah.
CH in that, it's conii. Remember when we were talking about anchusa, and I wanted to say ancusa. I think say
I always say Reversionii, but maybe it is Reverconii. What are you
yeah,
Fren are
we're gonna
you
do a one more
Italian?
sip on botanical, Latin, so,
Yeah, I
but
think we will,
uh,
and we will fail miserably at it, but,
no, we will do
yeah,
this.
it's undaunted, and I don't grow it. I would love to grow it, I don't grow it right
Let's
now.
grow it. Let's get some.
We should grow it, and we should get some, but I know people that I know and love and trust who do grow it and who think this is the business when it comes to Mohnbergia. It's very, very hardy. And sometimes the capillaris can, melt out. It's
Yeah.
just not super strong. So,
And
yeah,
zones for the capillaris, it's 5 through 11. For zones for the, undaunted is 5 through 9. But, it might have to do with drainage, might have to do with just strength of plant. But, yeah, I
mhm,
find that the pink muhly grass can melt out. Oh, there's also white muhly grass that makes some people happy. I love the pink myself.
doesn't make you happy. I
Yeah,
I saw it to perfection at the Delaware Botanic Garden, Pete Aldoff's design there in the fall in October. Whoa.
yeah.
Wow.
It makes a person who's not a gardener look at it and go, what is that? What is going on? Why do we have cotton candy moving in the wind here?"
Right, yeah,
It's
it is
very cool.
cotton candy, isn't it? All
Yeah.
right, on
What's
to the
next?
next. I will go for my virtuous choice, which which is panicum, and it's, one in particular, but I'll add a second one in there, Panicum virgatum totem pole. I really, really like this cultivar. This is a native North American grass, and it's switchgrass. I think that's common name. Help me out on that one, Leslie. It is
I think
switchgrass,
pretty sure,
right?
yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and it is quite tall. It's about 6 feet and very narrow. It holds itself tightly, and I'm always looking. I love grasses for openness, but I really like those vertical accents in the garden. And so this has a very wide gray blade. It's very stately. And I have had to stake mine in the past. It's not in full sun. It's in like 7 hour full sun. Very different. Very different. I know that in full sun, you wouldn't be staking this bad boy. Right now, it's gone through a lot of windstorms and it's doing great. And I haven't staked it so right now. So I've been growing it for about 5 years. I love it. The other one that I adore is Niagara Falls, and that is a wider panicum that is shorter, like 4 to 6 feet, and it's just very good. It's also a gray color. We're always looking for those mid-range grasses, aren't we? You've got the big guys, all the big guys, and you're looking, and you got the small guys down low, and you're looking for those mid-size grasses that don't dominate, but really do add body. And I think Niagara Falls is one of them.
So the first one was Totem Pole, and the second one was Niagara Falls. Don't forget, listeners and watchers, hopefully I'll slide photographs of everything we're talking about if you're watching this on YouTube. If you're listening, Marianne is going to write fabulous notes, and we'll just throw a photograph or a
Fabulous.
link to all of these. All right, my next one is also a virtuous plant. It is also a native, and it has a fun name.
Dear Lord, woman. Yeah, we're gonna get those wonderful comments that say, Leslie was doing really well, but Marianne, yeah,
No, no,
no.
I'm going to Japan soon.
Okay.
Um, I love me a little blue stem or a fun name and a lot of syllables. Ready? Schizocurium or
Shizacrium.
Schizacrium or
Well, I mean, I've heard it both
both
ways.
ways. Yeah, the way it's spelled, it looks like Schizocurium to me. But I used to say Schizacrium. Anyway, Scoparium, little blue stem. You can go little blue stem. Zones 3 through 9. I first fell in love with it because of its glaucous foliage, which sort of had edges of almost purple. I'm like, ooh, we got some stuff going on here. I didn't even care much about the flower. You can tell when you do a little research on these grasses on Mobot, which is what we both tend to use for easy, like, oh yeah, what are the zones on this? And you look it up on the Missouri Botanical base, and they have a bunch of photographs. And if it's just of the foliage, you're like, well, people love the foliage. But with muley grass, yeah, it was just the flowers. It was just the inflorescences,
Yeah.
that pink cotton candy. Anyway, so I have grown Twilight Zone.
No,
Hang
you
on.
haven't. You gave me Twilight Zone,
Why would I
haven't you?
give you something that I didn't grow?
No, you brought it back from a nursery. Remember when you stopped by here?
Oh,
And you were
yeah.
like, "I found this. I thought it was a very cool one."
Yeah, I
You
grew
used to grow
something
standing
else.
ovation, right? And so I'm stuck with this. I'm down here in this deep valley. You hand me a Schizacrium or Schizocarium or whatever the hell, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I've gotta take care of this
Well,
in
how's it
this
going?
valley." It's fine, it's alive, but it's never going to be the grass it needs to be because it really needs sun. It just sort of splits in the middle, windstorm would take it out, and I would love to grow it. I love me some Schizacrium or Schizocarium. I love saying it both ways, actually. Schizacrium. Sounds like a spell, Harry Potter. Again, plant people I know and trust and love. I've heard them say it both ways.
Yeah,
So who
I think
knows?
it's
Say whatever you want.
Fundus clematis. Say whatever you want. Little blue stem.
Right.
I am now growing standing ovation, which is so variegated. It's so cool. I just love that plant, and I've got it in little stone pots that are just like saying, "You know what? I'm just gonna bake your little roots because I think that's what you want," and it seems to want that. It's about the same size as a muley grass, but probably not as wide, so it gets about 2 feet tall, maybe about 1 foot wide, maybe 18 inches on an old one. I haven't grown it for very long, but the variegation is awesome because it's white, green, pink. It looks sort of like Christmas,
Sort of like
cauliflower
Christmas in
plant.
the garden.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and you'll have lots of them. That's one thing to be said about panicum and Schizocarium is they seed,
Yeah.
and so just be aware of that, while you're dissing miscanthus. All right. Okay.
It's okay if they seed if they're native. It's not okay. Anyway,
That's
this
right.
is
It's
not our
totally okay.
topic.
Monoculture, fine. It's native. Moving swiftly on. What's my next one? Which one did I have? Oh, I know which one. I'm gonna go Asian again. Great. I am getting hate letters after this. This is one I love though. I really do because it does do well for me in the sort of partial shade locations that I have it in, and that's Calamagrostis brachytricha, Korean feather reed grass. And you may already know Calamagrostis Carl Forster,
Which I'm gonna
which
talk
is
about in a minute.
okay, that's gonna be one of yours? Alright,
Yeah.
so that's the long, tall, skinny thing that you see in every parking lot from here to the Mississippi River. But this is a wider flower raceme. It's a softer plant, and it's really, really good in perennial plantings. It really does soften. It's not a vertical accent like Carl Forster is, which I think is like acutiflora folia. But this is a terrific grass. Again, this does seed itself, which has been good for me because I've wanted to propagate it. So I just wait until it seeds itself, pull one up and baby it. It's been completely okay to pull out. It's not hard for me to pull it out. So I'm weeding it like I might weed something else. My God, mulberry weed. Seriously.
Mm.
I'm weeding my butt off there. But it's not like northern sea oats, which when it seeds itself, it sends a root down to China to get back home, I guess. I don't know. No, it's not. Chesmanthium is native. Oh, that's right. It's totally fine to do
It's
that.
totally fine. Can I tell you a funny story on myself with the Chasmanthium, the
Yeah,
sea oats? When I was shopping for the bowling alley, I saw one in a nursery, and I bought 2 of them actually, and they were
they're
lime green.
beautiful.
They're but they were totally lime green, and so, the sea oats thing hadn't happened yet. I'm like, "This is gonna be great for the bowling alley," I just love this lime green, the chartreuse look, and,
Not
they
fertilized.
literally had not had enough sun, and that is why they
Good
were lime
stuff.
green. So they just became regular Chasmanthium that seeded all over my bowling alley, and now I'm on my hands and knees pulling out plants this tall, an inch tall, with roots 3 inches deep. And I'm like, it's so that one of them is gone and the other one will be gone in a moment as soon as I find a replacement.
That plant is gonna when we do our heinous natives,
Mm, let's
episode,
concentrate on this.
that one is number 1,
Mm,
because, yes, it is so beautiful, and it tempts you in with those
the
beautiful little oats.
seeds, yeah,
Oh, they're so
so
beautiful, and then it
cute.
just throws those seeds right in the middle of a clump of phlox that what are you
You
gonna
can't
do?
possibly
I
you can't
know.
possibly deal with it. Just
Right.
throw up your hands. Alright, so you've covered your, you have more on the your
What
calamagrostis?
Um, I love it, and I'm willing to weed it out here and there, and I used it a lot, the new perennial bed, and evidently, it's Badger's favorite plant to eat, which is really fascinating, and it is actually interesting. We're always worried, "Oh, will your dog eat this? Will your dog get that?" And dogs are not stupid overall. I mean, there are some stupid breeds, I know, but, I have got this long under my pergola of carex, and mororii, never can say that.
Moro-I-I.
Mororii.
Yeah, we got this.
Beautiful ice dancer, ice dance.
Oh, I
Can't
love that.
remember that one either. And in the midst of that are places where the Calamagrostis has shot up, and it's very different looking, but it's not that much higher than the Carex. And here comes Badger trotting away, and he just goes straight to that grass. I mean, there's all this grass-like stuff that looks like grass. He doesn't want any of that. He's going for the Calamagrostis. Um, so there you
Interesting.
go.
It
It's
must
interesting that they can be discerning. That brings us to something that we didn't say about grasses, one of the great reasons to grow them, and that is that they are deer resistant in a big way.
all of them, all the ones that we're
Yeah.
talking about, all of them that I can think of.
Yeah. I've never had a problem with any of my grasses that, oh, wow, they really destroyed that, or the rabbits took it out,
Mm,
or, the vigor in the spring is so strong that even if a rabbit nibbled it,
no
it,
problem.
glancing blow, flesh wound,
Only
right?
a
And it
fresh
would
food.
that's right, only a flesh wound. So that is a very good reason to grow them,
Yeah.
whichever grasses you grow. Okay, so I think it's your turn. I'm throwing the whatever it is, the tennis ball, the golf ball. I don't know. I don't do these sports things like you do.
Let's do tennis. The ball is in your court. It's in my court. I've
Okay.
got it. I'm gonna
All right.
serve it up. Oh, it's Wimbledon this week. I've been watching a little bit. Calamagrostis, I'm gonna concentrate on Carl Forster, and Marianne nailed it when she said, if you drive past a shopping mall, you will see this plant. That's too bad. Ubiquitous is not our favorite thing in garden plants, but there's a reason. This plant is fabulous. It's about 4 feet tall, but it only gets to 1 or 2 feet across. It's just like this. We talk about vertical accents. This is the vertical accent because it's just such upright, medium green foliage that comes up, and then these like oat things come up from there. It's a punctuation mark of this
It is.
wheat colored thing that looks great in that parking lot, better than, I don't know, just red mulch or something. But it also looks great if you throw it around your garden. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, I really love to put it in the middle of borders, like dotted around, like a surprise of, it's going to be a kind of a green blob depending on what's around it. But then all of a sudden shoots up this weedy, awesome thing. So Calamagrostis Carl Forster, it is a very popular cultivar. Sorry about that, but the other
I've got a criminal act I would like to confess to live on air here.
I'm ready. Ready
Many
with the
years
handcuffs.
ago, right, just let me in. Many years ago, I would look at this grass and I'd love it, and I'd want it in my own garden, and I would put it in my own garden, but it really needs sun. It really
Oh,
does
it
need
really does, yeah.
sun. It flops, right?
Mhm.
And the sun, I think, also ripens the heads too, that
Oh,
extra ripening. So I would put it in my garden. I'd buy plants and they would open up very much like my brachytricha into a sort of feathery, they're sort of a feathery raceme,
uh-huh.
and they'd never turn into the really tight heads, little wheat heads. They'd be wheat colored, but they'd never really turn into those little tight wheat heads. And so I was like, well, I just must have gotten the wrong grass. I just must have, just I haven't bought the right thing, or they've mislabeled it. And so I was at a Wegmans. This was like probably 10 years ago. And I'm looking it's in the back of the parking lot, and I see some of this that is growing really well with the tight
Did
head.
you commit
No, hang on, I'm not finished. It's not a
okay,
full criminal act, it's just a partial one.
alright.
And it is spreading, and there's like a little bit of it coming off of the main clump. And I know what the landscapers are gonna do. They're not gonna, "Oh, look, a new plant. Let me take that and baby it." It's just gonna go in the back of the truck. So during an evening grocery store run, I go into the back and sort of block with my guard. That I am confessing to a criminal act here,
Yeah, you
okay?
are. By the way, I could just hear the conversation, "Honey, I'm going to the market, but wait a minute, it's 11:30 PM. Yeah, yeah, I need, strawberries. See ya."
I don't know that I actually tried to do it at dark. I don't think that I was really that malicious. It just happened to be darker, and I had been looking at it and thinking, "Should I do that?" I just wanted to get it to see what it did. I wanted to see, okay, is this just a function of the grass? So I got this one. I labeled it. I did dig it, brought it to my garden, labeled it Wegmans Carl Forster.
At least you gave
Like,
credit.
so that I knew, this is the one that you're gonna burn in hell for. And then I watched it in my garden do exactly the same thing that the other ones were doing, which was starting out and opening, feathery,
Mhm.
but never closing back up into that tight,
Hmm.
ripened
So
heads.
it must be sun.
And so it's gotta be about sun, but it was really I was doing it for the advancement of science, as you can see.
And
Um
which will actually spare you in any courtroom. So we're
I think it will, in good
yeah.
faith. Something I just need to say in good faith. Or, oh, wait, I know. I don't recall.
One more thing about Carl Forster Calamagrostis is that if you have a rain garden, it can take a bit of rain. A lot of grasses don't need tons of rain because they have such deep root systems, but there are a few that muley grass could use some water, although it doesn't like thick soil. But Calamagrostis can take that water and then it can take some dry, which is sort of what a rain garden does. It goes washes away and gets dry and blah blah blah. So anyway, that is one more thing about Carl Forster. And what is your next grass?
My next grass is going to be a Molinia, which is moorgrass. And it's a particular cultivar called Transparent,
Okay.
which they have at the Lurie Garden that Pete Aldoff did in Chicago.
Oh yeah.
And this is one that's not really on the radar for a lot of people sometimes, but you know how Stipa gigantica, which is such a cool grass,
Oh,
really, really big. And I would put that on my list, but I don't grow it. So I don't know that it grows well for me. I sure see it in other gardens and think that is an outstandingly beautiful grass. And it's just a huge statement. But the thing about that Stipa is that or is it Stipa? I suppose it's Stipa,
or Stipa.
um, or
I don't
Stipa,
know.
is that the flowering heads, those inflorescences, you can see right through them.
Mhm.
It's not just really, like a panicum or what have you, which is very frothy, but you can't really see through it. So Millennia is like a smaller version of that.
Oh,
And you can put it into, like I have it in the middle of a bed in front of a window, sending up these just small inflorescences that just add that softening, that blurring,
how tall?
without being too in your face. Oh, foliage is probably about 18 inches tall.
Oh,
And I would
small.
say
Okay.
that and I would say that it's no more than about 4 feet, probably more like three and a half, four.
Okay. Cool.
I should know that. Maybe it's more than that. Maybe it's about 5. It's so transparent, I can't tell. But but it does take a little while to get started in your garden, and actually it was taking a while for me. It was like the 3rd year I'm going, "Okay, now I'm starting to get you. Now I see what you're all about." And I went back online to read about it, and sure enough, that's the thing.
Okay.
It takes a little while to get its little tootsies down. So just
Alright.
a fun one that you can dot around without it being like grass. It's just sending up those if you just want those inflorescence, the flowers basically.
Yeah. I would say that that would be true of the last 2 grasses that I'm gonna talk about, has that in common with your Millennia that it takes a minute, a year, 2, 3, to get
Mhm.
established, and That's what I'm hopeful for my Andropogon girardii Blackhawks because
Oh, love that
I
grass, love
know, it's so
it.
good, and you recommended it to me. I was growing it back at my big garden. It never really caught on, but I'm not quite sure it wasn't mislabeled because I gave it 3 or 4 years, and it was
Oh.
not very exciting. I've got it on the hillside above the bowling alley now. I've got 3 of them,
Uh-huh.
and I haven't been impressed so far this year. Last year, they were tiny. I gave them a total hall pass. This year, I'm like, "Okay, there you are. You've got a little bit more girth and muscle to you, but you're still quite green." Well, apparently, the beauty happens later in summer when they're gonna turn, a sort of a purplish, and then as fall goes on, it'll get darker and darker. Not really black, but dark enough to be quite
Dark.
dramatic. And
And
have
red,
you
reddish
yeah,
black.
reddish
Yeah.
black. So you've grown it successfully, yes?
No, that's the thing is that I'm growing it now, and I wouldn't call it successful yet,
Okay.
but I have seen it grown extremely well. It was up actually, it was being voted on for perennial plant of the year, I'm pretty
I can
sure. It got
believe
my
it.
vote. Yeah, that what is that plant that is the perennial plant of the year this year? The pygmanthemum, that
Oh, the m pa
that
pig
that
pigment
got it. I think it was
I
up
mean,
against that at the time, and everybody
I love that plant. That's the mountain
okay,
mint.
whatever,
Fine, fine, fine.
on that one.
Where's my bourbon? Oh, wait.
My vote went for the
Love
Andropogon. But, I've seen it at Smithsonian Gardens. Oh my gosh, it's so beautiful. It's
in
just such a
mass
great grass.
or accents?
No, just accents, like 1, 2, 3, and your eye is just drawn to it, the color of it, the strength of it. It's a beautiful grass. So I
Uh,
did buy, 5 of them. Oh, that was very profligate when I put in my perennial bed. And so they've only been in there a year. I've gotta give them some time, but they're doing a little bit of the sort of
display
splitting
thing.
in the middle like Schizocarium does.
Mm,
And I'm watching them. I'm going, all right, do you guys have enough light? You might be in the same place as Schizocarium because they grow in very similar situations. We'll
we'll
see.
see.
But if you're in a full sun location, um, it's a good grass. It's a great grass.
Yeah, yeah. Zones
Yeah.
5 through 9.
Mhm.
If it gets too many nutrients, where are you growing it
North
again?
American native.
Yeah, so North American native.
I'm growing in a perennial bed. That's not overly fertile soil, but it's
Okay,
heavier soil.
alright.
Yeah.
So that might be, one of those 2, a
Mhm.
combination of those, because too many nutrients, and it's like, "I'll just relax here, and it'll flop." What's your
Yeah.
next one?
My next and last one, my number 5 is another miscanthus. Oh, Marianne, you are so wicked.
It's a really special one, I know it.
It is a special one,
Yeah,
Cosmopolitan. Oh, man, that is a beautiful girl. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous miscanthus. It's a very wide-bladed miscanthus. It has very wide, creamy margins. It is confused with cabaret. Cabaret is the opposite of Cosmopolitan. It has green margins and a creamy midrib.
oh,
So
okay.
center. But I prefer Cosmopolitan because it is so white in my landscape. I mean, there's green in it, but it's a real echoing of those whites, which I love, with the Arundodontics that will or will not be named.
Uh,
The Salix fragilis,
oh, yeah.
or it's not fragilis, is it? Um, which Salix is that? You
Oh,
know
the
which one I'm talking
Salix,
about?
the one that
Which
has the
one?
really funky Japanese name that has the white
Yes.
tips, frosted
It's sort
tips on
of
that one.
white and
Yeah.
pink and yeah, so
Oh,
that color of that white is just sort of bouncing around and I have it in the back. It never blooms for me. It's always so late in the se I've had it in there years. I maybe 1 or 2 blooms. It's just so late in the season. Again, it's not overly vigorous. There's a lot of white in it. This is one though that I don't enjoy digging up. I remember digging you up a little piece
thank
and not
you.
enjoying that at all.
Yes,
It will
yeah.
die out in the center, but the big thing to remember about this is that it will revert. So
Mm,
it'll revert back to a wide-leafed, uh,
boring green.
miscanthus. Yeah,
Yeah.
boring green. I dug up some of its reversions years ago when I was working on the serpentine bed, and so most of the serpentine bed was outlined and there was hugel culture going down, but it wasn't cultivated, and I just sort of threw it at the end of it. like, just, throw it over there and it's now biomass. Well, it didn't wanna be biomass, and it turned out to be this huge miscanthus that I had to I'd ignore and ignore and ignore, and then I had to dig it up later. It was not pretty, so didn't wanna die, but it will revert. But it's a beautiful, beautiful plant. It's zones 5 to 9. Just again, it's miscanthus, keep an eye on it. If it's blooming, one of the things you can do with miscanthus, if you love that, is just cut the blooms off,
Yeah.
so that yeah, so that you can grow what you wanna grow
Yeah, without any guilt. My last
without any
one is, it shouldn't be guilt-inducing, but it is from Japan, and it is the Japanese Hakon grass. And it's one of our few, I think, that can, not only take
Hack
shape.
on, half off. Coney Kaloa.
It's the Hecanicloa macra, and it's a low-growing, shade-loving thing, and I first time I saw it, it was growing at the New York Botanical Gardens, and there were tufts of it that were probably it was 4 feet across, 5 feet across, and then I began to see it in gardens where it was just newly, um, purchased or planted, and when you go to buy a 1-gallon pot, you're looking at something that's, just as big as an apple, and I had it going at my old garden, and I took some of it with me, and I didn't bring enough, I didn't bring the right kind, I only have 1 tiny little clump, and it's just so pathetic and small and waiting to be good. I love the, all gold, which is the one
Yep.
that I've brought with me that didn't seem as robust for me in my old garden as the aureola, which is the variegated with green and kind of gold.
Is it
And
really called areola?
oh,
As in nipple or areola?
yeah,
Maybe those
um,
words are all similar.
nipples, great, yeah, here we go. Um, it
Just
can
making connections, I'm just
yes,
making
you are.
connections.
If you don't grow it in shade, if you put it in too much sun, you'll know it because it'll either get crispy or bleach out or both. One of the most robust ones that I grew was just the species, the Hecanicloa macra. It wasn't a variegated one at all. It was just green, but it still had that fabulous flowy sort of look. And it grew fast. It was so much more fun in terms of getting to that robust size that you wanted to put under a shrub. I had it on a hillside. It was great. Easy to divide. These are probably about, 8 inches tall, and then they completely disappear on you. Some grasses will hold the skeleton of itself over the winter, and then you wanna go cut that down actually quickly before the new growth comes. With a hack-on grass, it's just like, "Where'd that go?" And you don't really have to cut it down. They kinda dissolve or get blown away with the leaves, and then when it pops up again, you're very happy. Do you grow it?
I do. I grow a few different cultivars, and one that I wish I could have grown to what it needed was sunflare, which is sort of
Mm,
like the all gold, but with little red tips at the end. And
ooh,
it just
sorry.
sort of petered out for me because I didn't have it in the right place. But I did want to put a little caveat on that only shade statement because I saw the most outstanding display of Hacconi at the Silas Monsier Garden in Nutley, New Jersey. A wonderful garden, and it was designed by Richard Hartledge. And the whole back area of the garden is these sort of rolling mounds that are covered in Hacconi Caloa, and it's full sun.
Oh,
And I could not understand that. I was sort of like, "Well, that doesn't make any sense to me," but it is heavily irrigated.
interesting.
So, yeah, so it was able to cope with the sun if it was fully hydrated. Because I talked to him about it for a little bit, like, why is this? I don't get this. This is a forest grass, and this is shade only, and here it is in the sun." And it looked beautiful. It looked
And that is the
fantastic.
common name for it, by the way. So Hakanakloa, but people call it Japanese forest grass. A great design element that you could do with it is almost make it look, because it's so flowy and so low growing, you could almost make it look like it's flowing. I designed a few things where
Yeah,
it was kind of coming down a hillside, almost like a
yeah,
stream would. So cool grass. 10
like a river.
favorite grasses. We did it.
10 favorite, I think we did, although we never really talked about, why and how you use them and why people don't use them and how we
Oh,
started
if
using
they're
them, you know?
controversial, yeah, I think it was just a matter of fashion. I mean, some things go in and out, right? When I didn't use them, it's because I was ignorant. I didn't know about them. I don't think they were a thing when I was starting to look at gardening in the '80s, or maybe they were a thing, but I wasn't cutting edge. But I think that they came through the history with, recent designs, right?
Yeah, I would say recent-ish, recent to me, but happens to be like the lifespan of new generations now,
Sure, yeah.
basically. So, very much being encouraged by Kurt Blumell, who Panayiotis Kalaitis from Denver Botanic Garden called this sort of the king of grasses and the sort of the inventor of grasses in North America and bringing them to the forefront. And obviously, Wolfgang Ome, the design firm that's what was it? Or, no, I'm sorry, not
Own van Sweden.
yeah, Om van Sweden. It's James van
James
Sweden and Wolfgang
Sweden.
Ome, right?
Yep.
And they brought a lot of grasses into that new American garden movement that they had. And then, of course, Pete Olduff comes in. The West Coast was really pushing grasses, but they weren't taking hold in the design movement really until the 90s, I'd say, like
Mm.
early 90s and into the 2000s. And then all of a sudden, Pete Oldoff goes big with the new perennial movement. He's using a lot of them, and people are going, yeah, these do create texture. These do create movement, and it's worth it just trying a few. I have got bona fide good gardener friends that know their stuff that won't use them in their perennial beds or in their beds, and they think they're grasses, they don't belong here. And they still feel like that. And I think that you can get overgrassed really quickly, and you do
Oh,
have to be careful. And you can get overgrassed really quickly because they expand. You dig them up, you cut them up, and then, well, what am I going to do with this? You're going to throw it down at the end of the end of the serpentine bed, and it's going to sprout. And it's hard to get rid of them, so you end up with more perhaps than you want. So I think you do need to do some editing, not just of seedlings if you have them, but really looking to see, okay, do I have too much grass in here? Is it too much grass texture?
yeah. But I think they add a really nice textural difference to any garden
Mhm.
bed. So I'm a fan. Hey, quickly, damn, I wish I planted that. And we both have things that could actually, they're not grasses. They absolutely are not. But we both decided on things that are structural, not so floriferous plants that add interest to the garden. I'll quickly do bronze fennel, which is
Yes.
Funiculum vulgare purpureum, which is an herbaceous perennial that I have now put above the bowling alley on my Tuscan hillside. I have 5 of them. These are zones.
Now, now
Bec
you do.
Now I
You're
do.
gonna have 82 of them next spring.
I will have a few more probably next spring, depending on, I mean, we'll see. We'll see, because it's
Oh,
rather thickly planted down there, thickly settled, as they say in Cape Cod. And I look at my middle herbaceous perennial zones 4 through 9. It is coveted for its variety of texture, and it's just this light, feathery, statuesque presence in the garden, like me when I go out there.
ah,
Moving around like this feathery
right.
statuette, and I don't have yellow flowers that swallowtail butterflies like, particularly black swallowtail butterflies. It is the larval plant for the black swallowtail larva. What do you call that? I mean, I guess it's a
Caterpillar?
caterpillar, yeah. I think that's
Caterpillar. We're going back to first grade on this one,
yeah, no kidding.
Leslie.
And then also there's actually something called the anise swallowtail butterfly, and, of
Oh.
course, fennel is the taste of anise, the seeds and flowers can be used in cooking. Do you ever? Because 'Cause you're so much more domestic than I would never.
Was that a compliment or just a backhanded compliment? No, because I don't like the flavor of
Ah,
anise.
too
I
bad.
never particularly have. Now, I do like it when I grow regular bulb fennel, and I'll braise that and the bulb itself, but I don't just take, and it's a very mild flavor. But when taking, anise flavored herbs to put into things, I'm not that into it. I'm so into that plant in the garden. And for me, it's like the poor man's giant fennel. I can grow it easily, cheaply, great vertical, beautiful, foamy, fluffy yum in the spring under planting all these bulbs as that foliage is coming up. It's a win. It is ridiculously seedy, but
So how
again,
much
you can
do you have
pull
to
it up.
edit? Are we talking about hundreds of
Yeah.
things that you have to pull up? Dozens?
A lot. No, not hundreds, but a
Okay.
lot. It comes up in a lot of places, and obviously the more that you have, the more you're going to have that. You can cut those
Fairly.
flowers off, but we always say that you can cut those flowers off. Are you going to? Is a whole nother
Or you're gonna
thing.
be at the beach that week, maybe.
Are
By
you
the
going to be
way,
at the beach? Yeah.
how easy is it to edit?
Oh, easy. Yeah,
Okay,
I
so it's
can
not
pull
as
it up.
easy.
Now, it's not easy to edit if you've let it get to be 3 inches wide, but
No,
those little tiny guys, oh yeah, those are
easy.
scuffle home material and it's easy to pull up. Deer resistant, deer do not touch it here. So again, that's one of the things that makes it such a great plant for me. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. All
I
right, so what's
approve.
your choice? Also a purple statuesque, but slightly dangerous plant.
Yeah, I don't yeah. Slightly dangerous, very, very, very deadly dangerous is castor bean, Ricinus communis. And there's all sorts of cultivars. You can get a very deep red cultivar you can get, and I'll put some of those in the show notes for you. You can get a very green one. I see this in the spring, potted up one plant in a pot for $14 or something. And I think, why? Why would you do that? The seeds are so easy to germinate. It's such an easy annual. It is such a beautiful accent in a garden. It's a palmate leaf. I usually grow the red varieties, the red cultivars, and it just adds something very, very different. Now, the seeds of this are deadly poisonous. That's ricinus. That's what they, powdered up and sent to the White House many, many years ago. I say they, who was they? Was it the Unabomber? Was he doing it? I
Yeah, I
don't
think
remember.
yeah, pretty sure he was doing
Somebody
it.
somebody was doing that. Ricinus powder, that is ricinus. I don't worry about that. I plant it in the way back. We've talked about this in our poisonous plants episode. I don't tend to stress about this sort of thing, and I've been okay, and millions of people before me for many, many years have been okay. So anyway, great plant, easy to start from seed. Get yourself a packet for the fall. It'll get to be, well, it depends. If it goes straight up, it could be 6, 7 feet, maybe a little bit more. You can stake it, but it tends to just do a little floppiness here and it sort of moves through things. And speaking of grasses, it's outstanding with grasses, just sort of feathering it and tickling it. And yeah, take mine. I don't tend to put it on the compost pile. I put it in the trash or I put it in the burn pile just on that secondary thing that I don't particularly want my dogs to chew on it or, pull something out of the burn pile.
Yeah, yeah. So, damn, we wish we planted that, but we have planted those. All right, well, this was
We have
great. I
given.
mean, this was a lot of good information. We didn't make you laugh as much as usual, I don't think,
It's
listeners.
just falling down on the job. Yeah.
Well,
I
perhaps we should
wasn't drinking very heavily though, so
I tried to make you drink heavily. All right,
I
so
did not mention testicles this time, so that was good.
as always, you can find us on Instagram. We are the Garden Mixer, but I think the most valuable places that we are YouTube. We would love to have you subscribe to us on YouTube, and you can see some videos and some shorts there. But Substack is the place to go. And of course, we mentioned that that's where you can support us by subscribing and getting the One More Sip episode. And you also get to join our community and be able to comment and that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, and we've actually got a few that I wanted to shout out to our newest mixers: Jill Barrow, Hazel Tavares, Tracy Libertini, Mooj Yu. I would love to know the last name there.
Mood
Anna
you.
Consi. Oh, Anna, I'm going to say your name wrong. Consi. Ko.
Sounds like a
Conceo.
great name.
I'm gonna say that wrong. Yeah, it sounds like a very beautiful name. And Mary Lou Righty, thank you so much. You remember Mary Lou? She was on a trip with us last year.
Oh,
Remember Mary
yeah.
Lou?
Yeah,
Mary Lou
Mary
Righty?
Lou is
Subscribe, and especially if you're a founding mixer, you're going to be in those notes forever. You're down at the bottom in a graphic. Woo! But we'll shout out if you're there and just leave us a review. It really does help. It takes you very little time, but it helps in all of these mysterious algorithms that these robots are doing.
We did get a new comment on Spotify, and it was from Jolie Pold. You two are a hoot. Love the podcast on walks around the lake. Ooh, that sounds fun.
Nice.
And
Thank
on
you.
YouTube when at home, particularly like Clearup Corner. So do we. It makes us feel better about all the boo-boos we make. Thank
It
you for
does.
listening
Yeah.
in, and thank you for for leaving that comment. We really appreciate all the feedback. All right, so we've done it. Grasses are our thing, and I hope you guys learned something and look for the show notes on Substack.
All right. Until next time.
Till next time.